Happy New Year, everybody. Wish everybody a healthy and prosperous 2024. Was gonna do a 2023 metals recap with some financial news. So 2023, gold hit an all-time high, or better put, the dollar was at an all-time low versus gold. And gold was actually up in all 10 major traded currencies throughout the world. The Federal Reserve raised interest rates 4 times, starting in February, March, May, and July, a 0.25% each time. And 2023 brought us 3 of the 4 largest bank failures in U.S. history, starting March 10th with Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank March 12th, and then May 1st, we had First Republic Bank fail. So each of these bank failures were over $100 billion in assets each. So these were, again, 3 of the 4 largest bank failures in U.S. history. So that's metals really started to take off in March after the bank failures. And then thing we'll touch on, kind of go by month, is the premiums. So starting in March, premiums on precious metals really changed significantly. So I'm going to take a month by month overview and just kind of go over what premiums were on precious metals throughout the year. So first, we'll start out with precious metals price performance for 2023. So gold was up 13% roughly for the year. Gold started about 1824, and then gold finished closing at 2063.20. And then gold was actually the only precious metal that was up on the year of the 4 major precious metals that we sell. Silver started at about $24 and then closed at $23.88. So silver was down just a little bit on the year. And then platinum started at $1,073 and closed at $19.88. And palladium had the biggest drop of the year. Palladium started at about $1,800 roughly and closed at $1,126. So I don't like having bubble vision, so I like to look at gold, precious metals and other currencies. Gold was up on all major 10 traded currencies throughout the world. Gold was up the most in Japanese yen. It was up 21.78%, almost 22%. And silver was up in only 3 out of 10 major currencies throughout the world. It was up the most in Singapore dollar, over 26%. Silver was down the most in Swiss franc, almost 10%. So just want to do a highlight of gold and silver price performance with premiums for 2023. Because premium plus spot is actually the price that you are going to pay when you buy physical precious metals. So starting in January, metals went up for that month. So metals got up to almost a high of 1950. So we started out the year selling 1 ounce gold eagles and buffaloes for about $90 over spot. Maples were $50 over spot, and 1 ounce gold bars were $35 over spot, and 1/10 ounce gold eagles were roughly about 15%. And then metals went down significantly in February. So February we dropped down to a low of 1811. That was the low on gold for the entire year. And then metals went down again. Metals almost touched a low again on the year. We were at 1815, so just slightly above where it was in February. And then Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank failed. Silicon Valley Bank failed on March 10th, and then Signature Bank failed on March 12th. And then metals took off from there. So metals rose up. We got to a high in 2052, early May. And then metals dropped down from there. And then we kind of bottomed out back in October of 23. We got down to 1821. And then the dollar started declining. So the dollar, if you look at the dollar index basically bottomed out in July and then had a rise up until the fall time. So I was trying to see if we can find some correlation between what the dollar index was doing. So that's the US dollar versus the major currencies throughout the world, which the dollar index was down about 2%. So it wasn't a quite correlation that you can just point to on that. But premiums in March got really high, so April. So 1/10 ounce gold eagles went up the most. At one point, we got up to 26%. I know we were selling them for 20+% over spot. And then the 1 ounce gold eagles and buffaloes were 110 over spot. And then we finally dropped down in July to $90 over spot on 1 ounce gold eagles and buffaloes. And 1/10 ounce were still high. They were close to about 18 to 20%. It was actually end of July when things really started to creep down on premiums, especially gold, Eagles, and 1/10 ounce the most. So we got down to October back to a normal level of about 12%. And then currently December was the lowest premiums that we've seen all year. Just a lot of selling was happening. So 1/10 ounce gold Eagles got down. We were selling for 11% over spot, half ounce gold Eagles 8%, and 1/2 ounce 9%. So all throughout the year, those prices were much higher. And then 1 ounce gold Eagles and 1 ounce gold Buffalo is $65, which is the cheapest we've sold those since pre-COVID. And silver's price performance and premiums were completely different than gold. I mean, it couldn't be any more drastic. So silver started out the year flat, and then silver went down from February till March 8th and bottomed out at about $20. So that was a low point on silver for the year. And then again, the bank failures, and then silver just took off. So silver then went up to a high of $26 per ounce, 26.07 exactly on May 4th. And then silver dropped down into about $22.71 in June, and then it dipped down to 22, 24, and then we started going back up on silver. So we got up over 25 there in July, mid-July, and then went back down again in August. We got down to 22.42, and then went back up and to almost $25. It was 24.72 at the end of August. And then in October, we dropped down again almost under 21 again. We got down to 20.90 October 2nd, 2023. And then metals, that was the low for the fall. And then metals got up to a high in December 1st, 2023. We got up to 25.48, and then we finished at 23.88 for the year. So silver had just an extremely wild ride. The most wild ride was premium. So we started out the year selling Buffalo rounds for about $2 to $2.25 over spot, and 10 ounce bars were $1.75 over spot. Silver Eagles were $7 over spot. And then, so silver dropped about $3 in February, and premiums creeped up. So 2023 Silver Eagles, we were selling them at $8.50 over spot. 90% was $3 plus over spot. And then look back in March, 90% silver got up to about almost $9 over spot. Eagles were $10 over, and rounds and bars were $2.50 over spot. So rounds and bars, we stayed pretty consistent all throughout June. I know it took us until June just to catch up on our round supply. We were just that backlogged. I remember we were about 30 plus thousand ounces always behind on filling orders. And silver maples, they got up to $6+ during that spring period that we were selling. And then it wasn't until end of July that Silver Eagles premiums dropped big. So we went down $4.25, but Silver Eagles got up to as high as $16 over to order at one point. So I remember even encouraging people for the first time ever, I don't usually tell people one way or the other, but just basically don't buy Silver Eagles just because the premiums were extremely high. And imagine if you were paying spot plus 26 and then $14+ on a premium, you'd be losing big time. It'd take a long time to get that premium back. So if you look at it overall during that period from March until July, and just overall for the year, silver rounds and bars were much better value than 90% silver and Silver Eagles. And then at the end of the year, these are the cheapest premiums that we've had all year. So right now, 1 ounce silver rounds were $1.25 over spot, 10 ounce bars and 5 ounce bars, about $1 to $1.10 over spot, and 90% silver were about $1.20 to $1.50 over spot. Silver Eagles were $3.50 to about $4.25 over spot. So looking back on the whole year, if you were to decide what was going to be the best to purchase, if you would have bought rounds and bars, that would be by far the best value to purchase. So last thing I wanted to comment on for 2023, what's the best value to buy? If you look at the gold and silver ratio, to start the year, we were at about 76-1, so gold was $18.24 and silver was about $24. And then we closed the year, the ratio, gold 2,063, silver about 24 roughly, so it's about close to 86-1. So silver right now, in my opinion, just is a much better value, especially with the premiums on silver coming down significantly. So you're saving quite a bit. Again, we're selling silver rounds for $1 cheaper going into 2024. So silver looks to be a good buy at this point with the premiums plus where the price is at this point in time. And then gold premiums are down as well, but obviously the price is up. So just if you look at it overall, with the premiums down on both metals, it's a good time to stack and add to your position if you're looking to do so. So looks like we got great premiums going into the new year, much better than what it was in 2023. Look forward to a fun year, everybody, and make the most of 2024.